So with the 2024 season and the NBA draft coming to a close, teams are starting to focus on finalizing their rosters as they begin to prepare for the up-and-coming season. Through free agent signings and coaching hires, NBA teams are effectively able to bring a rebranded roster year in and year out. This year, one team's search for a new head coach has taken over the news cycle, and that's because the Los Angeles Lakers are looking to hire the next person to coach LeBron James. A few weeks ago, the Los Angeles Lakers officially hired JJ Redick, a former NBA player, as their next head coach. Normally, this would just be a regular coach's hire. However, aside from the fact that it being the Los Angeles Lakers,
NBA The game ends.
there's one thing JJ signed up for that might ruin his coaching career before it even starts, and that's coaching LeBron James. At this point in his career, LeBron James is widely known as the GOAT. Since his debut in 2003, LeBron's career has consisted of championships, MVPs, and being the face of the NBA for as long as many of us can remember. In this time, he's been a part of countless viral moments on and off the floor, as he continues to break some of the wildest league records. LeBron's career is not an inch shorter than the mountain peaks of greatness, as franchises, fans, and even players all around him have all greatly benefited from his dominance. But why can't NBA coaches say the same? In 21 seasons, LeBron has played for 9 different coaches, and even with his greatness, only 2 of them would last with the team more than 3 years, even through postseason appearances as well as conference championships. Even winning the NBA Finals with LeBron for some coaches wasn't enough to keep their jobs. Coaching on a team with LeBron is almost an impossible job to keep, and Paul Silas would be the first in a long line to figure this out. In 2003, the Cleveland Cavaliers were coming off of arguably their worst season in franchise history. They won only 17 out of their 82 games, finishing with a .207 win percentage. That means in terms of win percentage, that season the Cavaliers finished just outside of the top 25 worst NBA seasons of all time. It was clear a change was needed, and that change would be hiring head coach Paul Silas, and shortly after, with the first overall pick, drafting LeBron James.
With the first pick in the 2003 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select LeBron James.
In his rookie season, LeBron would take the league by storm and go on to win the Rookie of the Year, the first Cavalier ever to win the award. That year, the team would finish with 35 wins, almost doubling their win total from the previous season. However, LeBron would prove to be the only consistent bright spot on a recently struggling Cavalier team, and the team would again miss the playoffs. After the first year with the Cavs, LeBron and Coach Silas were both in high hopes to build off the minimal success they saw in the year before. And in the first half of the 2004 NBA season, it looked like they would do just that.
In a 13-year span. James at 3.
Should call a real center as James fires up
By Philadelphia back in 2001. James takes him.
Here's James. Quick explosion inside.
Hold on for LeBron.
LeBron James.
That year, the Cavaliers were able to hold first place in their division for most of December and for the entire month of January. However, a few weeks later, and the Cavaliers found themselves in fear of missing the playoffs and without a head coach. A few weeks after the All-Star break, Paul Silas was fired and replaced by interim head coach Brandon Malone. At this point in time, franchise decision-makers felt the team was underperforming and feared missing the playoffs if a change wasn't made. But the team ended up finishing 1 game shy of being in the playoffs, making it 7 seasons in a row without a postseason appearance anyway. But when Paul was fired, the Cavaliers had a very possible chance to make the playoffs. something that just 2 years ago seemed impossible. And even though he fell short in year 1, this wasn't the first time Paul attempted to lead a playoff contending team. Before his time in Cleveland, Silas was able to take the Charlotte Hornets to 4 straight playoff appearances, despite some unfortunate and shocking events that took place during his tenure. During this stretch, Paul would maintain a win percentage of .570, which would make his win percentage rival legendary coaches like Greg Popovich during this stretch of his career. Although a few leadership mistakes may have deteriorated some of Paul's relationships in Cleveland, he was known to be an ascending coach before his time with LeBron. But after his time in Cleveland, it would take Paul 5 years before getting another opportunity to run an NBA team. Now, following Coach Silas, for the next 5 years, LeBron would be coached by Mike Brown, and when he left Cleveland, the great Eric Spoelstra. This is where he saw multiple championships, finals MVPs,
35 for LeBron James. Timeout San Antonio.
and again broke more records. And even though he never won a championship with Mike Brown, the 2005 through 2010 Cavaliers were generally known as a good team, as they made the playoffs each of those years and even won an Eastern Conference championship in 2006. Both of these coaches were able to stay with their teams for more than 5 years and had lasting careers after LeBron's exit. However, LeBron only won a championship with Eric Spoelstra, and because Mike Brown failed to do so, he was fired, almost simultaneously with LeBron signing to Miami in free agency. After his trip to South Beach,
You ready to go, LeBron?
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
LeBron would return to Cleveland for the 2014 NBA season. In his return, LeBron was greeted by David Blatt, the third head coach for Cleveland in 3 years. Before joining the NBA, Coach Blatt was able to build a Hall of Fame legacy overseas, as today he can be referred to as one of the best overseas basketball coaches of all time. And together the two would lead the team to the NBA Finals.
That's a tough shot. Curry goes around James to the basket. He lays it up. And then the fakes. That shot is good. This guy is unbelievable. 20 first half points for LeBron James. Looking for that opening. Steps back. Crossover. Fires away. Wow! Another three from Curry. LeBron James, he was magnificent tonight. But it's the Warriors that had that extra gear here in the fourth.
But in the end falls short to the Golden State Warriors, who were about midway through of a dynasty of their own. Halfway through the following season, and David Blatt was fired, and has yet to coach in the NBA since, despite initially telling coach sources that he intended to do so. For the second time in his career, LeBron was a part of a team that fired a statistically good head coach. And this time, it was no secret, LeBron had an impact on the decision. James's likeness for Coach Tyronn Lue and his desire to be coached by a former player were well known throughout Cleveland's organization, even though it's claimed James was never directly consulted. And with Coach Lue, LeBron James and the Cavs were pretty good.
Inside to Livingston. Outside to Barbosa. To Thompson for three. Got it! Look at him move around the court.
Warriors win it 108, 9-7. They lead the series 3-1.
James fakes. James drives. James finishes. And the foul. To knock up a three. And does. He is shooting with such confidence tonight. James to Thompson. 31-9. JR lines it up top. LeBron. James lines it up and hits it. Curry throws his mouthpiece and he's going off on Jason Phillips. It's right through the hands of Curry. James, a two-handed slam.
Game 7, we're all pumped up and everything. No problem.
Curry corner three. Takes Green up top, floats it up. With the left hand, Kyrie Irving. Knocks down a three. To Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving. It's final seconds. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again.
However, after LeBron James left and signed with the Lakers in free agency, Lue was quickly fired, like 6 games into the season quick. because reportedly, Lue's mind and spirit weren't in the right place after LeBron James left. But Coach Lue doesn't see it that way, as he believes he never should have been fired. And other NBA coaches around the league seem to feel the same. After Lue's dismissal, NBA coach Doc Rivers expressed his disgust with the situation, claiming the move to be awful, and that it made no sense to fire a coach that is coming off of 3 consecutive finals appearances. Now, in all honesty, NBA coaches, or anyone on an NBA roster for that matter, doesn't have the highest job security in comparison to other occupations. In fact, the average tenure for NBA coaches is only 4 years. NBA coaches have also struggled to win with one team, but found ways to make it work on another. However, when given the opportunity to host LeBron James, many franchises quickly turn to a championship or bust mentality, where a franchise may have extremely high hopes or even take daring risks with the idea that it will result with a championship in the end. And when it doesn't, franchise decision makers begin to play the blame game. These high expectations may be something that cost LeBron's next head coach his job and ultimately his NBA coaching career. When LeBron signed to Los Angeles, it was to embrace the home stretch of his career, find a place where his children can grow up, and to begin to plan life without basketball. But this only exemplifies the pressure to find matching pieces and to win a championship, with the clock on LeBron's career beginning to wind down. And as we saw early in his career with the Cavs, LeBron can't do it alone. And in terms of legacy debates, at this point in his career, it seemed the consensus greatest player of all time was still Michael Jordan. And while championship rings aren't all that matters in these debates, another ring for LeBron would certainly help his argument. So both LeBron and his new team, the Lakers, would be feeling the increased pressure to win with an already pre-existing championship or bust mindset. To start off this phase of LeBron's career in Los Angeles, LeBron would be coached by head coach Luke Walton, who was scraping by as the Lakers only won 35 games the year before. And in LeBron's first year, he wasn't able to make much of a difference, as the Lakers would only win 2 more games that season, and Luke Walton would be dismissed from the team by the end of the year. However, in that season, Luke would have to coach through injuries, trade rumors, and even ownership conflicts that would prove to be significant obstacles for any coach in the NBA. Upon hearing the news of Walton's termination, even LeBron, who also missed a crucial portion of that year to injury, said himself that Walton did as great of a job anyone could have done considering the circumstances that surrounded the 2018 Los Angeles Lakers. But with the trend we're starting to see, when coaching LeBron, winning isn't enough. Even making it to the NBA Finals may not be enough. So how could 37 wins in a season be enough? Either your team is succeeding at the highest level, or it's only a matter of time before your key card to the facility turns inactive.
They must have cut me.
After Luke Walton, LeBron and the Lakers were coached by Frank Vogel, and shortly after that, Darvin Ham. And under Coach Vogel, the Lakers would win their first championship in 10 years. It seemed the Lakers have found the proper match with LeBron James they were searching for. But in the 2019 NBA season, something affected the game of basketball to a degree we have never seen before: the COVID-19 pandemic. With quite literally the world shutting down, the NBA decided to host the playoffs in a bubble to ensure the season could finish without running the risk of infection. While the bubble did serve its purpose, there were a couple of different characteristics that changed the game for that year. For starters, it had no fans. There weren't any home court advantages or tough places to win for teams on the road. And during that time, it was constantly reported that players were unhappy in the bubble as they missed their families back at home. So much though that some players decided not to take the floor for a closeout playoff game and held a meeting where teams voted on whether they would continue to play. So while the Lakers won the championship that year, there may have been even more pressure than there was before to perform well again in the following season, as people felt the bubble wasn't a true NBA postseason. But in the next season, the Lakers would win 10 less games, just sneaking into the playoffs, where they lost their first round matchup. And after only winning 33 games the next year, Coach Vogel was fired. LeBron's most recent coach, Darvin Ham, took over the Lakers for the 2022 NBA season, but the Lakers were unable to win a championship and he was fired after a quick 2 seasons. And the next coach for LeBron, his 4th in 6 years, will be the first-time head coach, former player JJ Redick. It's no secret LeBron and JJ have built a chemistry over this offseason, as it was broadcasted for the world to see in a recent podcast where they discussed, well, basketball. And that the last long-lasting head coach for LeBron James was also a former player. But as we've seen, if JJ wants his time in LA to last, he better make it worthwhile.